We're going to talk about how you can grow your list using Periscope. My name is Kim Garst. I help business owners grow their businesses and specifically their bottom lines, leveraging the power of digital and social media. I am a best-selling author and also the creator of one of the very first Periscope for Business courses, which you can find at scopingforbiz.com if you're interested in learning how to use this thing we're on for your business. 5 ways. So again, today's topic is 5 ways to build our list. If you're not building a list, you're wrong. I'm just sorry. I hate to even say it so bluntly, but it's exactly what it is. It's the lifeblood of your business. About 85% of my sales are directly attributable to my list. I would go so far as, and this is another tweetable moment, is to say that I believe that the money is in the list for sure. I mean, everybody's probably heard that, right? The money is in the list. But the money and the relationship is in the list. That's how you continually, build out value to people that might not ever run into you again. So building a list is incredibly important, and yet so many business owners don't slow down long enough and they don't focus on it. For me, that's one of my key metrics. It's like, we have goals for every month, to make sure that we're meeting those goals. Building a list is a core part of our strategy. And you'll see me doing it here on Periscope. You'll see me doing it on Facebook, on Twitter, all the social platforms I leverage to build my list because we don't own our Periscope followers, our Facebook fans, our Twitter followers, or Instagram followers. We have to move those people to a place where we do own. That's our real estate, and our list is huge. So my first tip, though, to you as it relates to Periscope specifically, and I wanted to really focus on, Periscope strategies that every one of you guys can use. So this one in particular is something that each and every one of you guys can use. And yet a lot of you guys probably aren't doing it yet. In many cases, you may know that you can put your link in your bio now, or a link in your bio. So you may be using your regular website, right? But you can absolutely use that link, that opportunity inside of your bio for a link to your freemium, to where people actually opt in to get something of value instead of just leveraging your website. So my suggestion to you is, if you're serious about leveraging Periscope for list building, you can actually change that. Now, when you change it, you have to make sure you include the HTTP, etc. It has to be the full link. And when you change it initially, you're like, well, is this working? Because you can't test it. It doesn't work for you, but it does work for everybody else. It is clickable when somebody looks at your bio. So you want to make sure that you leverage that space. A lot of people will tell you to do it on Twitter or Facebook. Well, why wouldn't we do it here on Periscope as well? Okay, so first tip was, link to your bio, guys. Huge. Use that space. Okay, the second one is do a scope. You can either, and this is a twofold tip that basically revolves around the same thing. Inside of Periscope, you could do a scope where you introduce the value of your freemium. So I'm going to give you an example. And I'm just going to basically listen to what I say and then emulate or do something similar. So, for example, you guys, I have a jumpstart guide for Periscope, and I know a lot of you are probably not really sure if you want to leverage Periscope yet for your business. And if you're not, this might give you some inside knowledge. Go grab it. It's at, kimgarst.com/Periscope 101. You can grab my free ebook. Love to have, give you a little bit of value. So that's one way where you could highlight the value of your freemium, or you could share your freemium in every one of your scopes but in a way that doesn't come across super salesy or pushy. So just like I did when I introduced myself at the front side of this scope, you know, I say, you know, I try to give lend some credibility to who I am, so people know, should I even be paying any attention to this person? Do they have any knowledge that's valuable to me? So I introduce myself, and I usually either share my freemium or the Periscope course. In other words, something that is value-based to those that are listening, and yet I don't sell it, I don't push it, I'm just mentioning it. So you could do that on every one of your scopes as a way to give value back to your community. You know, each of us should have a freemium. So that's 2, is introduce the value of your freemium here on Periscope. And do it routinely, guys. In other words, don't just do it once in a while. You know, make it a part of your strategy to where you can share it, you know, maybe not every scope, but certainly once in a while you want to share it and let people know that you have something value-based that might help them. And then the third one is build a community around your brand with some special content offers. So, for example, and this is kind of the same example that I just leveraged. If you go to perischool.training, you will get my Jumpstart Guide, which I just mentioned in the previous tip, but you will also have access to some of the things that I have planned for PeriSchool going forward. So, you know, again, I'm building a community around the hashtag PeriSchool. Some of you may be familiar with tag tribes or hashtag PeriGirl or PeriGirls. So those are communities that are specific to those you know, Mark Shaw does Mark Shaw does tag tribes. I'm not sure who's running PeriGirls. I think there's a group of girls, a group of ladies that are running that. So, but again, you're building their list, guys, and no disrespect to them. It's a brilliant idea. I'm just saying, leverage the same idea for you. You know, build your own community, your own hashtag strategy, and then give value around that hashtag so that, you know, people are going to opt into it. They're going to support it, just like they do with tag tribes or PeriGirls, or, you know, here we are with PeriSchool, right? It's the same concept. You know, it does take a little bit more work, but you know, build your own community to where, you know, you have access to an opportunity to build your list. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm saying don't join those other communities, not at all. And I'm not, you know, absolutely not. But it's still, you know, what do you want for your business? And I think that's the part that you have to decide. Is this a viable, you know, tip for you? Is it something that you would want to do? But building your own community is incredibly important, and you want to make sure that you're stepping into that opportunity. So tip number 3 is build community around your brand. So, you know, like I said, you can go to perischool.training, and that's kind of my tribe. You know, the kind of thing that I'm trying to use to build my list and yet give value back in a way that's free versus, you know, because some people aren't sure yet. They don't know if they want a full-blown Periscope course, right? So this is a way, again, to build some community around your brand. And then tip number 4 is host a contest or a giveaway using either your fan page or a landing page. So traditionally, as contests or giveaways have been attached to opting in some way, right? You have to give your email address, and that's how people select the winners. Now, this does take a little bit more, you know, skill set, not necessarily skills, but a little bit more prep. That's the word I'm looking for. So you could put an opt-in page on your website. You could put it on your fan page. I love doing the fan page simply because that's what I call a twofer. You know, why not take advantage of double marketing value if you leverage your Facebook page? So what I mean by that is you can build out an app on your Facebook page. It's essentially a landing page. You highlight what you're giving away or your contest, and then you know, people opt in to win. So that's a great way to, and while they're there, hey, you may get them to like your fan page. You may get engagement on your fan page. So that's kind of, you know, again, like it's a two for marketing tip there. But you don't have to use your Facebook page. I'm just letting you know that that's an option. There's tools out there that make it easy. Tools like heyo.com, tabsite.com is another great resource. And again, you can build out those landing pages. If you don't know what a landing page is, it's basically just a place that people go to that, again, highlights what you're giving away, and you know, they opt in to join or for an opportunity to win. Leadpages.net is a great resource for kind of a plug-and-play system. They do integrate with a lot of the mail systems out there like MailChimp and Aweber, etc. So that's a resource for you if you don't have this in place already. Okay, so heyo.com and tabsite.com for landing pages on your Facebook page, those are great resources. And then leadpages.net are awesome for just great, you know, landing pages that you can put on your website. So tip number 4 was, you know, use the landing pages on your Facebook page or on your website to do to host a giveaway or a contest, because people love to win. And it goes back to, you're not saying, come join my email list. You're giving them an opportunity to join your email list, unbeknownst to them in some ways, because it's an opportunity for them to win. And then tip number 5, and I do have a bonus tip, so hang in there with us, guys. Tip number 5 is use your blog. Now, what does that mean? Okay. So it means that in most cases, we leverage our sidebars on our blog to share a freebie. You know, we usually highlight our freebie in the sidebar. If you're not doing that, I would encourage you to implement that, because when people come to your website, you've kind of got a captive audience. But if you don't capture them while they're there, in other words, if they don't opt into your list, chances are they're not going to just bump into your content, and they're certainly not going to get your newsletter or your email, because you don't know who they are. You can't communicate with them once they've left. So it's really important to leverage your sidebar so that with a freemium of some sort that's value-based to your ideal client or your ideal customer, so that you can capture them. And then you have a consistent way to communicate with them consistently and build out that relationship. And ultimately, when you have something to market, you'll have somebody that you already know is interested in your products and services. So leverage your sidebar. So I'm going to give you another little tip. So a content upgrade is essentially something, and I've leveraged this in other ways, even here on Periscope, where, like yesterday, I did some tips on how to grow your Facebook presence and fan page when you have no budget. And I gave 5 tips, and I said, hey, go back to my blog, and there's 5 more tips. So the frame of reference, though, for your blog is, if somebody is on your blog and they're reading your content, it's amazing how many people would love to download that content and or would like additional tips in that same avenue or that same lane if you had it set up, and they'll opt in to get it. So, so there's a couple of ways that you could do it. You could say, here's 5 tips, and if you would like 5 more tips, then you could set it up and they would opt in to that. If you have a piece of content that's themed, depending, like I'll give an example. If I have Facebook content, then I show an opt-in that at the bottom of that post that is more information around Facebook. If it's Twitter related, then I would have an opt-in at the bottom of that blog post that's Twitter related, so that they could continue to get more information from me. But again, they'll learn, they'll opt in to get that information, and that's a great way to build your list. So that, again, tip number 5 was use your blog. All right, who is ready for a fantastic bonus tip? Okay, guys, I did, we've all heard of webinars, right? That's nothing new. We all know, we've probably all been on webinars. Webinars have become a little boring for those of us who are on Periscope, because Periscope is, again, so live and engaging, and I can answer your questions, you can ask me questions, and it's all real time. So it feels more, I don't know, real to me. So so I did what I call a traditional webinar style. In other words, I launched a webinar. I said, I'm going to host this webinar, and I did the traditional webinar strategy, you know, signing up for the webinar. We let people consume the content on a traditional webinar, and I also periscoped it. So I call that a scopinar. I actually trademarked it, bought the domain and everything. So my point is, you guys could do a traditional training and you know, have people opt in for that training, and then you know, come on Periscope, advertising it in advance, let people know that you're doing it, and they'll opt in to come, you know, be a part of that experience. So you can either make it off of Periscope totally and not, you know, Periscope, but I did both because I wanted, you know, to try to have the biggest community that I possibly could. So I hosted it on, you know, the GoToWebinar platform, and then I periscoped it as well. So again, this is a traditional marketing medium or a traditional marketing method, but I've tweaked it to be able to leverage it here on Periscope. So take care, have a great day, and I will probably see you guys a little bit later.